But also to say, too, if you're interested in running for school board or select board or city council or anything, more the merrier. She knocked on every single door in that district. And I think it made the difference. Like, it's what it took to get someone who was younger. She was 23 when she was elected, a woman, a Democrat, like all these things that the district had never seen before. And in the comments, email Andy and Joanna.
And Justin.
And me, yeah, email me too.
And your legislator.
And your legislator. Yes.
Hello, Vermont. I'm Andy Julo.
And I'm Joanna Grossman.
And this is There's No Way in Creemee.
Vermont politics, culture, and beyond.
Thanks for joining us.
Hello, and welcome to There's No A in Creemee, Season 2, Episode 9. How you doing, Andy?
I'm doing well. How are you?
I'm good. We have an exciting episode this week.
Yeah, we do. We have a collab going on. Our first one.
Yes, our first ever collab. We are doing an episode with Democracy Dispatch, and we had the one and only Justin Marsh on with us.
Yeah, it was great to have them on the program.
Yeah, it was really good. It was so fun. I love all the campaigny stuff when we got to talk about candidates and campaigns and, how to try to win back our seats. And it was fun.
Yeah, it's all about strategy and adjusting it based on the last results. Got to talk a little bit about our respective podcasts and how we've been running them and comparing some notes.
Yeah, that was really cool. We have some other friends who have podcasts, but Justin has been doing it the longest of all those people. Yeah, and that was really, really fun.
Yeah, we had no idea how to do this, so we just kind of winged it. It didn't seem like there were a lot of resources out there.
Yeah. I never know. Is it winged it or wung it? I honestly don't know. I'm not trying to call you out.
Yeah, why don't I say winged it, wung it, and then we can edit it so I sound intelligent.
I think you got that part covered.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, cool. Well, I'm excited, and I hope people enjoy it.
Yeah, so we do need to just address one issue from the last episode. We had a bit of misinformation out there. Briefly, a listener alerted us, and we appreciate that. I conflated some information on the Young Republican chat and who exactly could see this chat, and it was a fairly limited crew. So everyone in that group could not see the chat, and I had said that Jason Malucci could see it, and that was not the case at all. So we snipped that out, but if you did hear that, we wanted to make sure that we addressed that right up front on this episode. Yeah,
absolutely, and it is important to us that our information is accurate. All right, well, we hope you guys enjoy this interview with Justin, and we'll be seeing you next week. Hello, and welcome to There's No A in Creemee, Justin Marsh. Thank you for joining us.
Yeah, thanks for having me. So exciting.
Yay, awesome. This is our first ever crossover collab, and we're so excited. I figure since we each have our own respective podcasts, it might be useful to the listeners to do a little explainer, mini explainer about what they are. Will you tell us a little about Democracy Dispatch?
Yeah, so Democracy Dispatch is a podcast that I produce during the legislative session. And so I work for Vermont Conservation Voters, and we're a 501c4, meaning that we are a nonprofit that can get a little political. And when I was first hired, I didn't want to just write an email every week. That just felt a little too boring for me. And so I was like, what can I do that would maybe shake up the format? And I had no experience with a podcast or anything like that, but I was like, I can probably figure it out. And so luckily, everyone was really supportive and was like, sure, whatever you want. And so I created this podcast, and it's basically, I have conversations about, obviously it's a lot of environmental and a lot of democracy stuff, but at the same time, I'm talking about, legislative pay and sometimes really bizarre topics. Like the very first episode was about the Winooski bubble, like the dome over Winooski that was proposed in the 70s, which is kind of environmental, but also like it's a little bit of a stretch. So the topics are varied. I have a guest every time, and the format has shifted each year, but in January, we'll be on our 4th season of the podcast.
Awesome.
And, we hit 50 episodes this year. And
That's great.
Yeah, it's just kind of fun. Like it's great to have conversations, and you never quite know where it's going to go. As structured as I'm sure you know,
that's awesome.
As structured as you can try to make it. But yeah, it's a lot of educating our members about the policies that are happening in the State House, and then talking to legislators about like really what is happening. And it's pretty niche. I would say some of the best feedback we got, though, is like from a legislator who, like, this was back in the Affordable Heat Act days. They weren't in the committee of jurisdiction, and they're like, wow, thank goodness for your podcast, because I have been trying to figure out how to vote on this and how to communicate to my constituents if I'm not super privy to it in the day-to-day. And I think that's something that I didn't realize until I started working in the building. It was like, legislators can't know everything about every single bill. So like they kind of have to rely on other organizations and other advocates to really educate themselves and get up to date and know how to vote on topics. So if that in of itself is the, outcome of the podcast, I'll take it, and more of that, please.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, you can dive so much deeper in a conversation when you just sit down with somebody and talk for 40 minutes.
Yeah. Totally.
It's so good. I love that we should do our explainer too, but I mean, I just want to respond to that. Like, it's so interesting, like as county chair of the Dems, like I have 42 Democratic legislators in my delegation. And sometimes I feel like they're not legislators for a geographic district as much as for a committee or an issue, you know? And so, we've, especially on education, we've heard similar feedback, oh, it was so great to hear you unpack this issue. And it makes me feel good, like we're doing something that is helpful to Vermont.
Yeah, and people ask me, like, what are your thoughts on the data privacy bill? And I'm like, I don't know. Sure, I'm in the building every day, but it's not my personal jurisdiction. It's not what I'm paid to learn about and be able to advocate and lobby. But so just like legislators, I feel like the same way. If it's not something that's come across my desk, like chances are I know enough about it just from, proximity, but please don't ask me details on that. Well, so I'm not even sure how to give the elevator pitch on
Joanna.
Our
podcast. I don't know. So the cliff notes are I'm the outgoing county chair for the Democratic Party in Chittenden County, and I ran Andy's Senate campaign. And Andy's a former senator from Colchester and the Islands, and I'll let him do his part. But we just felt like there was a lot more that we could do to add to the conversation and help build the movement, and and help Vermont evolve and grow and create a positive impact. So we decided to get some microphones and start a podcast.
Yeah, I mean, we're either that or a coffee shop we were talking about. So we went with the podcast route.
That's right.
Yeah.
We had a few scenarios.
Yeah, and Joanna's from New York and I'm from Vermont, and there's some cultural differences there we try to highlight. But, we've called it Vermont politics, culture, and beyond. And we've tortured each other in some segments on Vermont and New York culture.
Classic.
We've had a lot of good conversations. We didn't intend for this to be an education podcast, but
that's true.
It has turned into. I mean, it's the prominent issue right now.
It's an issue we both feel strongly about. Yeah.
Yep. We've had some terrific guests in the first and second season so far. We're in our second season. We've been doing it weekly with no break. We just. We chopped our hand in the air and said, okay, that's season 1. We'll see you next week for season 2.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah, I would advocate for a break.
We're trying to figure that out.
Yeah. It's in negotiations. Yeah.
It was going to be every other week, but we made the mistake of starting the podcast toward the end of the legislative session. And you know how it is, just like, the listeners can't see this, but I just made like a motion with my hands when you're like punching a box, like a, what do they call them? Like boxing, like bag thing?
Speed bag.
Speed bag.
Yeah.
It's like a speed bag.
There you go.
Yeah. And so we just kind of like couldn't stop. And we kept being like, yeah, we're going to take a break next week. And that next week has never arrived. So we're just still going, doing our thing.
Maybe the holidays.
Yeah. We got it under control. We'll figure it out.
I'm here to solve your problem.
Perfect.
We could use an arbitrator.
Yeah.
Actually, we have a whole list of issues of argument. Our arguments never really finish. They just we put a bookmark in them and then we come back to them later.
We should have just saved all of those for Justin and they could mediate. Like, that's the next time you come on, that's what we're going to do.
Perfect. It does kind of feel that way, the way that we're all positioned in this tiny little room.
Oh my God.
Let me tell you, Justin.
I always feel like if it really got ugly, like we could use the skates.
We are surrounded by blades. Yeah.
Yes, you certainly are.
No, it's a safe space. Okay. All right. So this is exciting. The whole reason that we reached out is because we saw a consortium of PACs and advocacy groups are doing this cool new candidate recruitment and training program. Andy's a former candidate. I'm a million times over campaign manager. And we love to know what you guys are up to.
Yeah, so we call it LEAD Vermont, and it's an acronym that I will not be able to recite offhand, which makes I didn't create it, so I can sort of say that it's maybe not the most effective acronym, but it's like
we'll
leadership.
Put it in the show notes.
Yeah, leaderships. I don't know what the E is. Education, maybe. I don't know. I won't even guess. That should be a game that you play. Guess what the training is you have. But every odd year, non-election year, for us here in Vermont, a coalition of organizations who are both 501c3 and may have a 501c4 get together to put on electoral training, and it's for folks who have not declared their candidacy, so that allows us, any organization, to do it, whether or not they have the C4, and we kind of, it's just like it's kind of a crash course. It's like a 101. If you've never really, even if you have run for office or considered it before, either way, we start off with like, here's the political landscape. Here's what you're facing right now if you do decide to run or work on a campaign. Here are the tools to get you kind of like up to speed and ready to go. Kind of quick and dirty, but also it's a 6-hour training. So, it's a lot of information for one day.
Oh, so yeah, 6 hours. That's robust for one day.
Yeah. Well, especially for the in-person, like if we're going to get folks to come, like it's best to just like commit to the day. You know how hard it is with scheduling. Like if it's a multi-day thing, you end up losing people and scheduling is so tough. If we can get those folks in the room and the trainers in the room, we can really get some good momentum, right? So we're role playing what it's like to knock on doors, what it's like to identify voters, persuasion, get out the vote, framing and messaging. So what are your own values as a candidate, or what are your candidate's values, and how do you convey and communicate that to your constituency? And then also we go over fundraising and campaign finance law, which is, maybe it's in the middle of the day, or maybe we're going to feed them while we do that. So they can
I was going to say, do you reward them with candy or?
Yeah, we reward them with lunch, really. Lunch and snacks throughout the day. And then we have a legislator join us too for a portion of it so that they can kind of add their own perspective, and so that folks can ask them direct questions. None of us doing the training are legislators, and none of us have that experience personally, but we collectively have a lot of experience either working on campaigns, being part of an organization, a political action committee, and just the knowledge of being in the building and how, as I was telling someone recently, like how the sausage is made. It really does change your perspective a lot, and to offer that perspective to folks who may not really know what they're signing up for is really, it's helpful. It's good information to have, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's scary to be a first-time candidate. I was lucky the first time I ran in the House. It was a 2-seat district, and Mitzi Johnson was the other seat, and she recruited me, so she knew what she was doing. And then somebody told me about Joanna this time around, and my wife told me to hire her immediately once I had told her about her.
For better or worse.
That's right. Are there certain areas of the state that you're focusing on, areas where maybe the county committees aren't as able to support candidates and that you feel really need to encourage more people to run?
Yeah, of course we are strategic about where we're having the trainings. We started off with 3: Rutland, Fairleigh, and Middlebury. The Rutland one, it was scheduled for the No Kings Rally Day. We had scheduled it in August before we knew that was happening, but it was just hard to get kind of people. We had low registration, plus the people who registered really wanted to participate in the rally. That's a 2-hour event. In a 6-hour, it's like, oof, what do we do? So we're like, maybe we just postpone or cancel the Rutland one for now. But Fairleigh in Orange County and Middlebury in Addison County, those were kind of our areas. We knew, that there was opportunity there to find new candidates with more progressive, small p progressive values. And that align with our organizations. And we had done some of that work this summer in organizing. We've spent a lot of time in Addison County and a lot of time in Rutland County talking to folks, just having more presence, being a presence in those communities. And so we definitely had, we have a lot of allies in Chittenden County, and that's, certainly, I think it would be not as strategic for us to spend our time there, for instance, or in Washington County or Windham County. So, we definitely, we had those places kind of like set of, like Addison County was a rough one for us in the 24 election. So we're like, we need to find our friends there.
So you're basically looking for regions where you feel like there's a little bit of low-hanging fruit, like a possible attainable pickup?
Yeah, so we're nonpartisan, so we're looking for people who are going to vote on our topics regardless of party. We lost a lot of allies in Addison County in 24. We lost them all over the place, really. And so that's part of it, but at the same time, even if someone wants to run in a district where we already have a champion, great. Okay, we're happy to educate you. We're not saying like you can't because so and so is the senator there or whatever. It's an open door policy. We're potentially training someone from New Hampshire. They just really wanted to learn, and I was like, yeah, I guess you can come. Like, we're not going to be lobbying you for anything. So,
that's amazing.
Yeah, it's about education, right? It's about getting candidates prepared and hopefully training candidates who, if they were elected, would, support our values.
It's so hard to run. Like, it's really like, I don't know if you know this, but I had my own campaign services agency for 5 years. I worked for Indivisible before that, I, as county chair, like I've helped innumerable candidates run. And especially these down ballot folks, they don't know how to run. You don't like when you decide you're going to run, you don't like suddenly magically attain all the information needed to run for office. And so I think it's really cool, and something that as county chair, I always felt like I wish that the party did more of was this kind of work of recruiting, of training. And in other states, the parties do often do quite a bit of that. And I'm not like throwing shade, like we have a very under-resourced party. They can only do so much. But I guess my question to you is, this is traditionally the work of the party. So what was the impetus there's a lot of different groups that are working on this together. So what made you all come together, and like, how did you decide, we're going to really go all in on this?
Speaking on behalf of Vermont Conservation Voters, in order for us to pass legislation that's pro-environment and pro-democracy, we need to have people in Montpelier to help pass that legislation. There's Vermont's legislature, there's very few staffers. If you have to be you have to be the lieutenant governor or the governor or leadership to have any staff, and so it's kind of the role of advocacy organizations in a grand sense for us to be the ones to educate, to work on campaigns, to get those folks in, and once they're in, get them educated on our policies. So it's kind of our responsibility too, like if we sat back and didn't do this, we would be sort of like at the mercy of the will of the people, and we wouldn't have, we'd be handed that whatever after the election we had. So like if we're actively working on it, even in non-election years, trying to find those people that maybe will run next year. That gets us a friendly face that we know. When it does come to working on elections, we then can talk about the endorsement process and maybe potentially endorse them. And then with endorsement comes political action committee funding and all these other things. And so having sort of that first initial way to connect with folks is really important for us. And so I think it's been a super beneficial process and program for us to run. And, this year we've joined the Vermont Interfaith Action has joined us. So we have 8 organizations now working on this. It's just a great coalition. And we all kind of we don't work on the same topic. All 8 of our orgs are all kind of different. But collectively, we kind of co-sign each other's missions, So it's great. And it's a great way to connect with people who from different organizations' audiences, So Rights and Democracy might put out an email and reach folks that they're definitely not on Vermont Conservation Voters email list, for instance. So I think there's power in the coalition too. And then also because we're doing so many trainings, it's nice to be able to have different trainers from different perspectives do each topic a little, So it's great. I don't know, it all works out really well.
Oh, that's awesome. It is really cool. That you can really brief your, in my head, I'm comparing it to a merge a little bit. It's not really the same, but there is some common ground there. And it is so many people even win and come into the legislature really not understanding issues. And I know for a lot of my candidates, they've come in with a few issues they know a ton about, but then they're like, oh, but I don't know anything about housing, or oh, I don't know anything about clean heat or whatever it was. Mm-hmm. And so it's just so nice that you're actually doing some issue education. That is a huge missing piece. That's pretty cool.
Yeah. And even though during the training, we're not really educating them on our specific topics, but then they are going to walk away and they're going to know that they can come to Justin for this, or they can go to Jessica for that, or for Falco for this. They then have those connections, which I don't think they would have otherwise, which is really nice. And I think there's a lot this is campaigning is rough, right?
Yeah, it can be, yeah.
So if someone at a door asks you a question you don't know the answer to, it's nice to be able to let me get back to you, and then who to call to get the answer that you can then go back to that voter and inform them of wherever you arrive, on that topic.
Absolutely.
So lost a lot of allies in 24, primarily in those rural areas, and you're targeting those for the training. But how do you think about changing the approach when you're instructing candidates to connect better with rural voters?
Yeah, I don't know if I'm wondering how we've changed it necessarily from when we ran this training in 23. I think the main thing that we've adapted is sort of we're putting more emphasis on the state of things and what to prepare yourself for as a candidate when it comes to the online vitriol, the comments section, all of that stuff, personal attacks. Things have gotten really personal, it feels like. And so we've never really touched on that. And now we kind of feel like maybe we need to spend some time kind of just we don't want to scare anyone out of it.
But it wears on you.
Yeah. You have to be prepared for that. You have to develop a tougher skin.
Yep.
You have to not engage in the comment, I think, personally, not engage in the comments, not go to their level. And those are just things that we just want to take our experience, either running on campaigns or being an advocacy org, and just share that with them because, you might think, oh, I would be a great state rep, and they probably will be. But if you can't handle criticism and the stones they're going to throw at you, then maybe it's not best for you. We'd hate to see someone come in, work so hard to get in, and then once they're in, not be able to handle the pressure, and then resign. And it's just that's unfortunate. But so we're spending a little bit of time on that.
That's great.
And really just we're hoping, everyone's going to have their own style to campaigning, right? So we're not here to say, and every community is different. So when we are doing the training in Middlebury, Middlebury is a different community than Waltham. It's so different. Even though it's all in the same county, there's different you're gonna adapt your message, but it all comes down to your values and communicating those values and having things at the door ready to go, no matter having a story to share, no matter who answers that door, right? So it's those types of things. If you're inauthentic, like it's not gonna resonate. Like be yourself, be authentic. It's gonna come across way better than if you're gonna say something that you just think that the person wants to hear. Yep. You're not gonna get every vote. That's another thing too, right? You can't get every vote. Don't just say something because you think it's gonna win you a vote. Like be true to yourself, be true to your values, and that's kind of what we're hitting home.
I love that. Okay, so I'm curious, what has the interest been like so far? Like, how are you recruiting? What has the volume been? Like, who are you picking? Who's participating? What's the pool look like?
Yeah, it's been great. We've got pretty much full trainings for the 2 that we are running. We're not super selective by any means. We do ask in the registration, like how, on a scale of 1 to 5, how important are each of these different topics? And then, for some people, it's personally not very important to them, and that's fine. But if they rate everything that we have in that list as like not important, I'm like, oh, maybe that's not someone we really want to train.
Right.
So that's pretty much the bar that they have to reach is to just believe in our missions as an organization. And it's great to see this is the first time. So last year in 2023, we did like a one in-person and a shorter session. And then we did a bunch of online, I called it like night school. It's probably an outdated term, but, Zoom classes like at 6 p.m. for 1 hour. And I liked that kind of like hybrid model, but you lose people get busy, 6 o'clock on a weekday is not ideal for everyone. And so this year has been a real change in form from what I'm used to because we're doing these in-person trainings. But I do want to say you'll hear it first, the There's No A in Creemee exclusive that we
like those.
Yeah, absolutely.
We will be doing an online training that we haven't announced. The registration form's not quite up yet, but maybe by the time you listen to this, it is on December 6th. So
great.
No matter where you are in the state, as long as you have that day free and you're able to commit to 6 hours on your screen, we're prepared to train you on everything that you would get on the in-person, but just virtually. So
nice.
Yeah. So we wanted to make sure that we had as many people in the in-person ones because there's something magical about being in the same room as another person. Yeah. The eye contact that you can have in the room is different than the eye contact you have on Zoom. The magic of it in person and being able to share a sandwich, on a table with someone else. You don't get that on Zoom. So we wanted to make sure that we had the most attendance as possible at the in-person before, allowing folks to sign up for the online, but that will be December 6th.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Are you able to offer some continuing support if people take the course and they walk away with your business card or?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
And even, the folks that had registered in Rutland when decided to not do that one, I didn't ask anyone permission to do this, but I was like, if you ever want to just have a meeting with me and we can talk through some of these elements of the class, I'm happy to do that. And yeah, that's something that I'm always open to. If anyone wants to have a conversation with me about the ins and outs, just really high level, yeah. And that's our hope that folks are going to walk away knowing 4 people that they may, if they were to get elected into the state house, they'd run into, from time to time. Yeah. But also to say too, if you're interested in running for school board or select board or city council or anything, more the merrier. We're happy to go through all. It's a little bit. It's kind of meant for a legislative run, but those skills can be scaled down or scaled up. I think so. We trained someone in 23 who ran for Essex Select Board or School Board, and they were successful, and that was great. And our thought is, they may run for school board and serve their school board, and then who knows, maybe down the line they'll be like, yeah, I'm ready. And I think Emerge has the same sort of thought process, right? It doesn't really matter what the position is, as long as you're running, as long as you're you're doing this. And yeah.
That's so important, and I think none of us have really kind of cracked that nut yet, because nonpartisan elections are like, I know you guys are technically nonpartisan, but I just feel like nonpartisan elections are so difficult to organize around. And like, I know in my county, we have a really a challenging section where a lot of the Democratic seats are perennially at risk: Milton, Westford, Colchester, and Essex Town. And my role in the party has been my primary focus on supporting candidates there. And they're also really concerned about their select board and school board seats. And the party, like, since they're nonpartisan, we're like sort of not supposed to get involved. And it's like really an awkward fit. But at the same time, they're trying to keep like MAGA, like, and like really intense, like anti-critical race theory people like off of those down ballot seats. Those roles really affect communities. And so, we're trying to figure out how to support those folks. And you're right, like that's how we build the bench to have our future legislators and hell, our future governors,
Yeah, absolutely. And we don't really, VCV doesn't get too involved in municipal races. Because really our mission is state legislative advocacy, and we're passing laws, and that doesn't really necessarily happen on the municipal level here in Vermont. But we saw it this summer in Milton with Henry Bonjas, who was a committed, was on the energy committee, which we deeply care about energy committees. And yeah, it's sad to see the state of things in Milton, and I don't know if you've talked about that on the podcast at all, but there's a story that came out this summer on VT Digger, and anyone who's concerned about the state of our democracy here on the local level should check out what happened in Milton and be as outraged as we are.
Absolutely. I just did a reel on that, I think a couple days ago, about Milton. I was just up with the Milton Dems a few days ago. They have been like my number one I had never been to Milton before I was in party leadership, and that was almost literally like the furthest point from me in the county, like from where I live. And I started coming up there and seeing what Lonnie and folks up there were going through. And I mean, they're under attack. It's unbelievable. And they're really fighting the good fight for their communities. And it's just, I keep telling people, I'm like, if you before you think about going to volunteer out of state, think about going to volunteer for Milton, because there's a lot of places in Vermont that need our support.
Yeah, and I think people think, Milton, Chittenden County, just like, we didn't have a training in Chittenden County, but there's towns like Milton across the state.
Oh yeah.
And I would agree with you, Joanna. Yeah, please lend your hand, lend your support here first.
And it's going down to really low levels of town governance, planning commissions.
Yeah.
Not select board is not a low level position, but it's
But
not
still.
it used to be is anybody here willing to be on the select board? Please, we need somebody. There's an opening. How about you? No, I was just itching. Right. So, and now it's like there are ads in the paper, multiple people are running, which is in some ways good. But in other ways, you've got people who are in really small towns with no exposure to candidate training, no idea what they're doing, and they're a bit overmatched if somebody's helping them.
Yeah. This was not like on my list of questions, but I'm curious about your thoughts about this, Justin. Like something as a campaign manager, as an organizer, like something I've always been fascinated by is the power of the ask, and how, there's like, I don't know, a metric floating out there in the organizing zeitgeist that someone has to be asked 8 times before they'll run for office. And it's funny because a blast email isn't like the same as an ask. And I am always wondering, like, I like when I think of good people, I'm like, oh, you should run for office. And I will just tell them, like, I have no boundaries about that. But I'm sort of curious, like, what has your experience been like that? Is that a part of your model? Is that something you guys think about at all?
Yeah, I think how we sort of approach organizing is, we want people who believe in our mission and our value. And then once we have those people, and if we're in a district that we want to have some action in, maybe flip something back to someone who's a pro-environmental voter, we'll just have conversations with them. They may not be a future candidate at all, but they may know someone who might be a good candidate. And so just having those conversations is kind of like the base level of organizing that we do. So we spent a lot of time in Rutland this summer having those conversations, just, meeting them, hearing about them, and not asking, right? But when it does come time to ask, we've got familiarity with those people. We have a connection. And if it were to pop up in their brain, they would know maybe who to go to. But yeah, no, it's rough to recruit candidates. It's a hard ask.
It is.
Yeah.
Especially in areas where they may not be successful.
Right.
Totally.
It's an uphill battle.
Yeah, I've been an unsuccessful candidate. Yeah,
Yeah.
You've been an
I know.
I've run a few tough ones.
Yeah, I've campaign managed for winning campaigns and for losing campaigns. It's, you can't win them all, as I think we all know in this room.
Yeah.
And half of the battle is just putting yourself out there.
Yeah.
And it's like so much credit to anyone who does it.
Yeah.
It's a lot of work. It can be really rewarding. It can be I think the main thing for me when I ran, which was like ages ago, I got to meet so many people that I never would have met. I hated door knocking.
Yeah.
Something I discovered.
Yeah.
Not my thing.
I'm with you.
Yeah. Oof, rough. But it's important.
Somebody made me do it.
Yeah. Well,
And
Why are you bringing that up,
and I'm glad she
Justin?
did.
I'm just kidding.
door knocking is so important. It's
Yeah,
just one of those
yeah.
things where I probably if I had stuck with it, I would have gotten over it. But I ran in 2012 in my house district, and then I don't think there was a competitive race until 2018. And that was when Lucy Rogers ran and was successful, and she flipped that seat to Dem. And she knocked on every single door in that district and quickly, and was able to go back to doors.
Wow.
Yeah. And I think it made the difference. Like it's what it took to get someone who was younger. She was 23 when she was elected, a woman, a Democrat, like all these things that the district had never seen before. And I think ever, she was able to achieve. And I do think, she was a great candidate. She was a great representative. But I think that it came down to her canvassing, her door knocking. Wow, her field game was strong.
The hustle and the field are so big here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And people thank you at the door. You think they don't want to be bothered.
Yeah.
I'm bothering them. I'm not. They're in dinner, and sometimes you do.
Sometimes
somebody
you
in
are
the middle of
bothering them.
things, and
Yeah,
sometimes
that's
people
true.
want you there. But a lot of people will say thank you for coming around and door knocking.
Yeah, it means a lot. It just to, even if you're just dropping, even if you don't make that connection, just your presence there, if you're dropping your literature at the door and walking away, wow, that and it is more impressive the longer driveway you have, the more off the beaten path.
Yes.
They're like, wow, how did you find me?
Yes, and you actually, if you go down those long driveways, you think, should I be down here?
Right.
It's probably gonna be. They probably get no visitors. They're going to
Yes.
be, but then they're like, hey, thank you for coming down here.
Exactly.
Yeah.
If anything, I feel like, in the era that we are with, online shopping and everything, at least they're used to the UPS truck coming down the
Right.
driveway probably. So
Yes.
I think that our culture has shifted a little bit, but yeah, there's some rough places,
Yeah.
There are.
some
Yep.
scary situations, but
Yeah.
yeah, if you get to all those doors, it does pay off.
Yep. Bring plenty of dog biscuits for
Yes,
you.
absolutely.
If you can.
Did you do that?
Yeah.
I didn't realize that.
Dogs are the key to everybody.
A year later, I'm still learning things.
Yeah. Yeah. Mitzi taught me that one.
Yeah.
That's a really good one. Interesting.
And if you ever go into be a mail carrier, same thing.
Oh, yeah. I bet they have to. Yeah. Interesting.
Do you have questions that you want to ask us? Turn the tables and.
Yeah.
or,
Give us a hard time.
Yeah.
Turn the table.
You don't have to.
Yeah, no, I'm
Just
yeah,
give
just
the
curious.
opportunity.
What's so this is a fairly new podcast. What I'm curious always who your favorite guest has been so far, besides me, of course.
Besides you,
You have to name names. I'm putting you on the spot.
That means that everyone that we don't mention will be
I
offended.
know.
I know.
I'm here to make it messy.
How do we come up with a political answer for this?
Every Creemee melts, and you're gonna have to clean this mess up.
This is
I mean,
picking
Howard
between
Dean-
your kids, right?
Howard, well, we just rebroadcast an episode from Howard Dean. Howard Dean has been an incredible mentor to me. And I can't even believe I can say that sentence and it's true. Like, I worshipped him before I moved to Vermont. And then he's so inspiring to me. And I love how he's been so vocal about encouraging the next generation to take leadership roles. And talking with him, hosting him on my own podcast, our podcast, was surreal and really fun for me.
Our first guest was Charity Clark, and she pretty much just schooled us through the process. We didn't know what we were doing. We were both nervous, and she's like, no, pull up Zoom. Let's see each other's faces. Send me this.
She taught us how to do
She taught us how to podcast.
And she hasn't done it. Like, she just knew. Yeah, and she's been a really good friend to us, too.
She's a great guest.
Yeah.
She's amazing. And she actually, what is your Creemee order tradition came from Charity.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Which we will ask you. What is
We will. We'll get to it.
All right.
Yeah, that's our closer question. Do you have the
Amazing.
same closer question every year, or do you change it season by season? I picked you up this season.
Yeah.
And you were asking what favorite spot in Vermont was? Was that
Yeah,
So
that was
cute.
something that we
Yeah.
started this last season, and
Yep.
it was like kind of a nice way to close out a conversation.
Yeah,
I
sure.
didn't have that before. It was
Yep.
kind of like once I was done, and I would, anything else you want to say, and it was kind of an awkward thing.
Yeah. Just like we did to you just now.
I'm ready for it. I came up with something. But yeah, there's a lot of improv to podcasting that people probably don't assume. But
Yeah, maybe.
yeah. Yeah, and see, I already forgot. Yeah,
Yeah.
the ending
So
question.
you'll change
yeah.
it every year, every
No,
season?
I don't know.
Yeah, stick with that one?
I really
Yeah.
liked the questions that I
Yeah,
asked. So it was,
that's
I
good.
ask every guest, what your favorite spot in Vermont is. It can be anything. It can be a trail, a downtown, a body of water, whatever, swamp. And then I ask, who is a Vermont political figure, past or present, that, deeply inspires you or something like that. So, and so it's been really fun, and it gives me some social content to do when we're not recording, to share those places, and it's fun for me to go back and listen to those conversations and pull those answers out, and it's been fun. A lot of unexpected answers. I've learned about places Rep. Kath James taught me about this place called Wild Wings down in Peru, Vermont, which I had never heard of. Obviously, being a northerner like I am. Yeah, and just some Tom Hughes from VPIRG has this really sentimental spot in Orange County on this little tributary of a river, and I don't know, it's just it's neat to hear what people what means, what this whole great state, where different parts have sentimental meaning to them, or just really is a place they like to spend time. And I was also surprised how many episodes I was able to get through before someone mentioned Madeline Kunin as their political inspiration, but then once someone did, they all started doing it.
That's so funny.
So she's winning right now the race of most beloved political figure.
Interesting.
Yeah,
That's cool. That's pretty cool.
Our closing question is, what is your Creemee order when you step up to a Creemee stand?
yeah. I don't know if I have a succinct order that I would do every time. I'm this type of person that I'll go to a bar and order whatever IPA they have. I don't really care what it is. So similar to a Creemee, it's whatever the spirit moves me in that moment. But I would say Matthew Vigneault, who was a past guest of VCV and also has a podcast and also is on the VCV board, you must know Matthew from your Chittenden
he's the
County.
best, yeah.
He's so awesome. He is a huge fan of the Black Raspberry Maple Twist, and I would say that is up there for sure.
Yep.
But if there's a weird offering, if there's something that I haven't had, I'll go for that. I had a peach creamy recently that I was really enjoyed, but I'll take the Matthew answer and say a Black Raspberry Maple Twist is pretty awesome.
There's a place in Swan up in Hog Island that does a flavor of the week, and they've had black licorice. And
Ooh,
some
I would love that.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Hog Island,
Yep.
West One, or
Swanton, yeah.
okay,
Along
perfect.
Route 78.
Got it. All right.
definitely.
Nice.
Gonna have to check that out.
And do you get sprinkles?
I am a non-sprinkle. I would do sprinkles, but it's just so messy. I don't know. And they sometimes, depending if they're skimpy with the sprinkles, why bother? You know, I want that thing coated.
Oh, well, okay. See,
If I'm going to do it.
Yeah.
But I don't trust any Creemee.
Would you
stand.
just
That
eat
is very
sprinkles out of a
interesting.
bowl without the ice cream?
I never do the bowl. No. I want it all over my
It sounds like you're more in it for the sprinkles than the ice cream.
If I'm going to do sprinkles, I want my
Gotcha.
frickin' sprinkles. You
I
know?
respect that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I really do. It's funny. Like season 1, I was like, I like sprinkles and Andy doesn't. And
Okay.
season 1, like people were like so into sprinkles, and I was like, yes, like victory. And season 2, Andy's pulled into the lead here.
Yeah, I think what the difference was offering everybody $5 to say they don't like
Sure.
sprinkles before
Sure.
every interview.
Good plan.
Okay,
Nice.
well, here's a one for you then. Jimmies
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
or sprinkles?
Yeah,
well,
we.
What is it called? I mean, my
Well, it's
parents.
sprinkles here, right?
Well, I don't know.
I
My
mean-
parents grew up here in Vermont too, and they called them Jimmy.
No
Okay.
way.
What part of Vermont?
Lamoille County.
Okay.
Wow.
Yeah.
They
I've never
call
heard
them
that.
jimmies.
Jimmies, yeah.
I always think it's a very cute word, jimmies.
Yeah, I always laughed at them. Like, what are you talking about, Jimmy's?
Oh.
That's so
Are
funny.
they? And they grew up here.
They grew up here. Their
Where
parents grew up
their
here.
parents grew up
No
here.
way.
Okay.
Oh, I'm
All right.
like hardcore Cambridge. Like we're
Yeah.
multi-generation in the one town. Like we still all live there. It's pretty
right.
pretty
Well,
sad or cute
That
depending
could
on
be
your
like
perspective.
a PhD, topic to figure out how Jimmy's infiltrated Lamoille County.
Yeah,
Yeah, 'cause
I'm intrigued.
Because is it a region? Is it like a
Well, I've heard it's Maine and Massachusetts are Jimmy's.
There
And I
must
think
be
the
a
Midwest
place
too.
there. Like, is there a like creamy place there that has that written on the menu? Like, maybe it became a local tradition somehow.
Not necessarily in my time, but yeah, I don't. But there's something about that. Like I don't know. Like Senator Westman, who's from Cambridge, says "idea," and like that's
I used to
something
do
that's
that. I
like
had
that's
to
something
flush that
that's
out of
like.
my system.
But
People kept-
if you go to Massachusetts, they still say "idea."
Oh yeah.
So I think that's one of those things where it maybe just like is an old timey New England thing, less so. Massachusetts versus Vermont, but I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. So I'm interested. It's rare to find another like long-term, lifelong Vermonter. I find. I don't know if you've had this experience. So it's always interesting to talk about these things with someone who also grew up here.
I had never heard it referred to
Okay.
as Jimmy's
Good to know.
until I went to Maine. That was the first time I had heard it, and I didn't know what they were talking about.
Weigh in on the comments.
right.
Email Andy and Joanna
And Justin.
and me. Yeah, email me too. I need
And
to.
your legislator.
And your yes.
Legislator. We'll create a form. We'll create an action petition, and
you
people
go.
can, yeah. This was awesome.
Yeah,
Thank
thanks
you
so much.
so much for joining us.
This was fun.
Yeah.
Thank you, Justin.
Thanks.
Well, that brings us to the end of this episode.
Thank you all for listening.
Follow us between episodes for the latest updates on our socials at There's No A in Creemee on Instagram, Substack, and Blue Sky.
And catch us on our next episode of There's No A in Creemee, Vermont Politics, Culture, and Beyond in Apple Podcasts and Spotify.